when you look at a plant, it seems so still, so quiet, right? But underneath that calm exterior, there's a whole world of activity, a really complex, invisible conversation that's running the entire show. Today, we are going to decode that secret language.
And seriously, think about that for a second. How does that happen? It's not just about getting bigger. It's about following this incredibly precise set of instructions, a biological blueprint that we're going to unfold right now. So first things first, let's look at the how. The actual physical process of a plant getting bigger is surprisingly organized. It happens in 3 really distinct phases, almost like building something in stages.
Okay, so it all kicks off with cell division. This is step 1, the lag phase. You have these special cells, kind of like stem cells for plants, and they just start multiplying. Then comes the log phase, where all these new cells get bigger by basically just puffing up with water. And finally, you get the stationary phase, where they all get their job assignments. You're going to be a root cell, you're going to be a leaf cell. It's this beautiful, simple 3-step dance. Divide, expand, and specialize.
And the speed of all this, it's just mind-boggling. This number, 17,500, that is how many brand new cells a single maize root tip can crank out in just 1 hour. That's almost 5 new cells every single second. It's like a microscopic factory just going full throttle.
But what's telling all those cells what to do? You can't have a factory running like that without some managers, right? Well, in plants, the directors are this whole team of powerful chemical messengers.
And they're called phytohormones. These are the chemicals running the entire operation. Think of them less as just passive signals and more like conductors of a huge orchestra. They're telling one section to swell and get louder, another to quiet down, and they're orchestrating the grand finale, like when a piece of fruit becomes perfectly ripe.
Now these chemical conductors, they can basically be split into 2 teams. On one side, you've got the growth promoters, and they're the ones always yelling, "Go, go, go!" And on the other side, you've got the growth inhibitors, who know exactly when to step in and say, "Whoa, hold on, it's not time yet." This balance is absolutely crucial for a plant's survival.
So, let's meet the promoters first, the hormones whose entire job is to push for more growth, more length, more cells. First up, we've got auxin. This is the trailblazer. It was the very first plant hormone we ever discovered, and its main gig is to tell cells to stretch out, to get longer. It's the reason plants literally bend and reach for the sunlight.
And figuring this all out took decades. It all started way back in 1886 with Charles Darwin of all people. He noticed something in the tips of grass shoots was making them bend. Then other scientists like Boysen-Jensen and Paulin did these clever experiments that confirmed some kind of chemical signal was being passed around. But it wasn't until 1928 that F.W. Wendt finally isolated this mystery substance and gave it the name we use today, auxin.
And the stuff this hormone can do is just wild. See how a plant's main stem grows taller and stronger than the side branches? That's auxin at work. We've also figured out how to use it to grow seedless fruits, like the grapes and oranges you buy at the store. And if you've ever taken a cutting from one plant to grow a new one, auxin is what you have to thank for helping it sprout new roots. But get this, in really high doses, it actually becomes a potent, targeted herbicide.
Okay, next up on the promoter team, gibberellin. This one has a crazy discovery story. It was found because of a disease in rice plants in Japan called bakane, which means foolish seedling disease. It was causing these plants to grow ridiculously tall before they just keeled over and died. And the culprit? A fungus that was producing this very hormone.
So gibberellin is basically the plant's wake-up call. It's what breaks the seed's dormancy and tells it, okay, time to germinate. It's used all the time in farming to make grapes bigger, and it's also responsible for bolting, that sudden, rapid growth spurt you see in plants like cabbage right before they flower. It is a powerful signal for big, dramatic changes.
And rounding out our team of promoters is cytokinin. The name literally means cell movement, and that is its game, driving cell division. And you won't believe where it was first discovered. In some really weird places, like coconut milk, and even in degraded DNA from herring sperm.
So here's the crucial difference. While auxin tells existing cells to get longer, cytokinin tells the plant to make more cells. It's what drives the creation of new shoots. And amazingly, it acts like a kind of anti-aging cream for leaves, keeping them green for longer. It's the ultimate team player, often working right alongside auxin to guide how a plant develops. All right, but growth can't just be a runaway train. That would be a disaster. So now it's time to meet the inhibitors. These are the hormones that know exactly when to hit the brakes, how to manage stress, and how to handle big jobs like ripening.
So let's meet ethylene, who's kind of the oddball of the group. Why? Because it's the only plant hormone that's actually a gas. Its most famous job, by far, is fruit ripening. You know that old saying, one bad apple spoils the bunch? Well, it is literally true. A ripening apple releases ethylene gas, which then signals all the other apples nearby to start ripening too.
And of course, we use this commercially all the time. There's a compound called effifon that farmers often spray on crops because it releases ethylene, making sure all the fruit ripens at the same time for harvest. But ethylene isn't just about ripening. It's also the signal that tells a plant when it's time to let go of old leaves, flowers, or even the fruit itself.
And last but not least, we have abscisic acid, or ABA for short. If a plant has an emergency brake, this is it. ABA is the plant's #1 stress hormone. When things get tough, like during a drought, ABA is the one that steps up and takes charge.
Its role is really like a guardian. ABA forces seeds to stay dormant until the conditions are just right for survival. When a drought hits, it's ABA that signals the tiny pores on the leaves, the stomata, to slam shut to conserve water. It is the ultimate survival manager, guiding the plant safely through the hard times.
So we've got the process of growth, and we've got the chemical directors calling the shots. But there is one last crucial piece to this whole puzzle. What cues the directors? What tells them when it's time to act? Right, because these hormones don't just act randomly. They are constantly taking their cues from the world around the plant.
Plants are absolute masters at sensing the seasons, and they do it mainly in 2 ways. The first is photoperiodism. They literally measure the length of the day and night to figure out when it's time to flower. The second is vernalization, where some plants actually require a long period of cold, like a winter, before they'll ever bloom. These environmental cues, light and temperature, are the ultimate triggers for that whole hormonal symphony we've been talking about.
So from the division of a single cell to a whole orchestra of hormones responding to the seasons, plant growth is just this incredible story of precision and adaptation. By understanding this secret language, we're not just solving some cool biological mystery, we're actually gaining the tools to potentially write new instructions, to shape the future of our food, our environment, and our world. So the real question is, what are we going to tell them to do next?